Yo, what's up guys, and welcome back to the second video in the series of underrated hip-hop albums that you must hear. If you really think that you're a, real hardcore fan, a rap, a real hip-hop head, this is what you gotta hear. Or if you're someone who is looking to diversify your taste, looking to find some new albums to listen to, or looking to just have a conversation about some projects, some artists that you love, you have come to the right place, because that's what we're doing today. In this second installment, I got 6 albums I'm bringing forward to you. Now, I gotta say, I'm really excited to talk about a couple of these albums. Right now, I got plans to do at least 2 more of these videos, but if you guys continue to like them or want some more, want to hear me talk about some more, of my favorite albums, let me know in the comments. Also, let me know in the comments, what are some albums that you think are criminally underrated in the grand scheme of hip-hop? Please drop those down below, so that way I can listen to them if I haven't heard them before and diversify my own taste. But to start this episode off, I wanted to start with album. Oh, also, before we get into that, if you have not seen the first episode, go check that out. We talk about some great albums in that video, like Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music by Outkast, Ramona Park Broke My Heart by Vince Staples, and Brandon Banks by Max O'Cream, as well as I think 4 or 5 others. So definitely tap into that. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, comment, hit me up on the gram, the TikTok, the Echo. I appreciate all you guys tapping in today. So now that you're here, let's get it started. So I wanted to start off with an album. This is like I would say like an OG underrated album to me. You know, like 2018, 2019, that's when I was really getting into rap. Not just like listening to it. This one I was like going out of my way to listen to new drops, listen to new artists. And MIRRORLAND by EARTHGANG. This is one I listened to. Honestly, because at that time, I was into J. Cole. I knew about Dreamville. And after this album came out and I heard it, this is one of those albums where after I heard this, I went through, listened to every single EARTHGANG album, every single project that Johnny Venus and Dr. Dot had together, because this album is special. This is like the OG of underrated albums for me. The first, not the first, but like one of the first albums I heard that I listened to that I didn't really see getting a lot of praise sung for, where I was like, man, this album honestly blew me away, and it still does when I listen to it. This is an album where, in terms of like the playlist that I listen to, has never really left my rotation. All of these songs, all 14 of these tracks, are incredibly revisitable. A lot of them have had very important places to me at different points in my life. A lot of these songs as well exhibit great beat changes and do such a good job of world building through the soundscapes and atmosphere. And Johnny Venus and Dr. Dot are 2 of the most charismatic, over-the-top rappers in the game. They're very much, very personality-driven. Not that it's the same quality, but I like to compare them to Outkast, because they're just 2 high-level rappers, charismatic, forward-thinking, creative guys from the South. And that's just the truth. That's the long and short of it. They make very impactful, very deep and profound music. Great lyricists. But they also are always pushing the boundaries of what hip-hop can be. And I think that MIRRORLAND is their best example of that. Some of my favorite tracks. The track Up is this, like, again, a super, like, aggressive, over-the-top, almost operatic track, and it's just that song captivated me from the first time I heard it. Same with Proud of You by Young Thug. If there's one song on this album that is like meant to be a radio banger, that and Top Down are the ones that come to mind. You could throw those on any nice summer day and cruise around your whip with the windows down and just have a great time. Young Thug's feature is great on Proud of You. Top Down is just so catchy. It's so straightforward. You got a little choir in the back echoing the chorus of that. Top down, and I'm floating through the city. Watch out. Man, man. Just let me. Oh my god. And then you got, like, the southern influence on this album is awesome as well. A track like Tequila has such a great and deep horns. You got Swivel, This Side Avenue, Bank are also tracks on this album that are just deep, great storytelling. Instrumentals are good and evolve throughout the length of the song. Like I'm literally about to list every song on this album. But the last one I want to highlight, although Wings, Field, Stuck, Trippin', and La 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 Challenge are also awesome songs. Blue Moon. Blue Moon is a song that when you listen to it, it genuinely feels like a cut from like a Disney movie. In particular, Princess and the Frog again, because I'm talking about that Southern influence, in particular that New Orleans influence. Even though these guys are from Atlanta, tracks like Blue Moon and Tequila have this very NOLA bounce to them, very New Orleans inspired horns. And Blue Moon literally sounds like it could have been ripped from that amazing movie. I've been hustling, I can't get no rest. Once in a blue moon. Now, I will say, to be honest, this is EARTHGANG's best album by a long shot. Like, they still have other really great projects and really great songs that I love, but this album feels like the product of, like, a synchronized mushroom trip between Dr. Dot and Johnny Venus. I mean, like I said, the productions themselves are psychedelic, but the soundscape is just so atmospheric, and it really captures this, again, over-the-top, energetic vibe. And you got EARTHGANG tackling all these different topics, kind of giving you some stream of conscious rap, but also bringing you through all different types of theming. Now, moving on to the next album. This is an album I listened to recently, not for the first time, but the first time in a while recently, so I thought it would be appropriate to talk about. A lot of people like to act like that Mobb Deep is just the Infamous. And don't get me wrong, the Infamous is arguably top 10 rap album of all time. I think I would have it slotted there personally. And then for the people who don't think they're just the Infamous, they're like, well, what about Hell on Earth? Hell on Earth is awesome. I know people who like Hell on Earth better than the Infamous, and even though those people are objectively incorrect, Hell on Earth is still fucking awesome. But what about Murda Muzik? This album from 1999, now from my understanding, I think a lot of people probably look on this album as the one that has the one super big song off of here, Quiet Storm remix with Lil Kim. That's as one of, if not, probably Mobb Deep's biggest song besides Shook One Part 2, the one that still gets the most play, and it's an awesome song. The beat's awesome. Like, you see why that was getting radio play back in 99, and it makes sense. But there's just so many other songs here that I think really deserve some credit. For example, Spread Love, great hard track, very aggressive. And Mobb Deep is very known for their aggressive in-your-face rapping style. That's what they do the best. And they're not at the best with that here, but they're very much in your face. I would even argue more so than on the Infamous. And on a track like Spread Love that comes through, you also got Where You From with 8 Ball, which is a great track. Where You Hard At as well. One of my favorites off this album. Can't Fuck With, featuring Raekwon. You get a great Raekwon verse. And anytime the Mobb Deep links up with Ray or any other Wu members, you know it's going to be magic. And this is undoubtedly a case of that. You also got It's a Mine with Nas. Another, that Queensbridge link up, it's always going to hit. It is always going to hit. And I think this is just one of them ones, one of those 90s albums where I don't think it's like a 90s essential, especially a New York 90s essential, but also if you're the type of person who likes that or is looking to get into that and you haven't heard this is just another great installment of Peak. Another great installment of Mobb Deep. You know, Mobb Deep is historically the type of rap group, and I don't mean this in a slanderous way. There are a lot of rappers, rap groups, artists in general who are like this, where they're not doing anything particularly new on this album. They're not pushing the envelope for what we know them for. But it's another just great installment of Mobb Deep because what they do is so special. Havoc's production is on point throughout this. Him and Prodigy are just animals. Truly, both of those guys deserve shouts as top 30 rappers of all time, especially when you look at their discography between this, Hell on Earth, and The Infamous. Next up, I got another 90s album I want to talk about. I'll keep it a little briefer on this one, because if you've watched any of my videos talking about the albums I listen to in a month, this album is probably always there. It's genuinely, again, we're talking about another, I'm going to say top 15 to be safe. It might crack my top 10. I would really have to map it out, but I mean, this is an essential New York rap album. Released in 1995, we are talking about Do or Die by AZ. Now, there are two reactions that you're probably having right now if you're watching this video. One is, who the fuck is AZ? The other reaction is, oh, the guy from Life's a Bitch. Because, of course, AZ drops one of the best features of all time on Nas's Life's a Bitch off of Illmatic. Illmatic, of course, released 1 year before Do or Die. Now, Nas is on this album a couple times because, of course, both are members of Nas's group, The Firm, so they work very well together here. And Mo Money, Mo Murder with Nas, I think might be the most well-known song. Let's see, looking at the Genius reviews. Yeah, I would say it's the most well-known song off of this album. Mo Money, Mo Murder, Mo Homicide. Very stellar Nas feature on there. And you also got Give Me Yours, which, again, stellar Nas feature. Now, again, I said top 15 album of all time. That means I think this album is close to on par with Illmatic. So I'm going to kind of use that as my scope to talk about this album. Again, keeping it brief, I think what this album does differently than Illmatic, because there is stuff it does similar, where you're getting that kind of slice of life, window side view from AZ about life in Queensbridge, about this type of circumstances he grew up in, the type of stuff he's involved with, the type of stuff he's seeing in his neighborhood, and he does a great job of detailing it and letting it be seen. I do think AZ gives more of a personal perspective at certain points on the album in terms of directly relating to his perspective, where Illmatic at points is more of like an overview of what's going on in that area, in that time period, where you definitely get a lot more, I think, first person, in the moment rapping from AZ. The other thing, or the other two things, the production is not better on Do or Die, but it is more colorful, if that makes sense. I think, is more versatile instrumentals. I think there's a bit more range in the instruments used in the instrumentals, and I think different types of vibes are conveyed, and the soundscapes in general just maybe a more vast, maybe a bit more going on in terms of the production. And not that it's necessarily better. And with that being said, there's also a little bit more groove to this album. Tracks like Sugar Hill, tracks like Rather Unique, even Ho Happy Jackie have like very strong like bass lines to them and rhythms that just get you nodding your head in a way that Illmatic doesn't. I don't know. I don't want to slander Illmatic. Like, I'm not saying that, but the songs here, like, I feel like they're meant to for maybe a more, I would rather dance to songs off of Do or Die than Illmatic if it really came down to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. AZ really was tapped in, and I think that a lot of people are missing out on one of the best albums of all time. If you have not heard this, AZ is a very captivating MC. Again, top 15 album in my opinion that we're talking about right now. That I'd imagine the both you, a lot of you guys, the both, yeah, to my two viewers, both of you guys probably have never heard. Next one kind of falls into this same category, where, again, I would confidently say this is top 15, 20 all-time album. If you've heard this upcoming album or Do or Die in the comments, let me know where you would rank them, just because, again, since these albums are a little more underrated, I don't get to see where everyone ranks projects like this, so I would love to hear your perspectives on these two albums, or any of these albums in general. But for the third album, or no, this is the fourth album, we are moving on to Below the Heavens by Blue and Exile. California rapper Blue and producer Exile, who, this duo makes some of the most soulful music in hip-hop. Exile's production is just so lush. Again, the use of horns throughout this album is incredible. And Blue is not just one of the best lyricists I've ever had the pleasure of hearing on this album, but one of the best like storytellers. And again, he does a great job of doing what J. Cole called that broke rapper perspective, where Blue is still, I mean, still at this point in time, he's still dropping albums. He had one of the best albums of 2024, in my opinion. If you saw my reel on that or my YouTube short, go check it out and listen to that. Love the Ominous World, another amazing album from him and Exile. But this one in particular, it's that Baroque rapper perspective where you're getting incredible storytelling. You're getting impressive flows and everything on. There's not a weak moment really on this whole project, even though it's 17 songs long, over an hour. And this is really Blue just rapping about his life, about how he was raised, where he was raised, the people he was raised around, his ambitions, his life right now. He has bars about, talking to girls and not wanting to lie that a certain car is his, or not being able to buy girls drinks at the bar. And he raps about not knowing about, like, wanting to start a family at the age he's at and the position he's in. Like, this is really, like, honest, really authentic. Again, that broke rapper perspective. Blue is not a super prominent artist in general. And through here, he conveys what his life is like, what the life of someone who is very persistent with becoming a professional rapper and like the type of stuff he goes through and the journey that he's been on. And here it's all honest, it's raw, it's immediate, it's in the moment. He raps about what he wants from life, what he's getting from life. And I mean, this is just, I'd say a perfect album. I think this probably goes into the top 15 range of all time because, again, off the top of my head, I'm thinking this might be better than Do or Die. I don't know. Honestly, I'd really have to think about it. But if I had a gun to my head right now, which am I taking? I'm taking Below the Heaven because this is also the type of album that you gain perspective from every time you listen to it. Whether it's a bar or a song, there's always something you could take and apply to your life, whether that be something wise that Blue says, a mindset, life lesson. Something I truly love about this album. We had two more to go through. Now, these last two are far more modern than the previous couple. We got this one, United Palace from Lord Sko. Shout out to Sko. I got a review of this album up on my page. If you want to hear me talk about this album more, go check that out, please. Now, this is from a rapper who is very underground right now. Definitely getting motion, and I actually have had the pleasure of watching his career growth from Museum, which he released a couple years ago, up until now. He's got a couple of just great albums under his belt at this point in his career. And this one is like, Sko is in his, I would say more abstract hip-hop bag in terms of the instrumentals, where like Museum, which probably like a little bit better. This one is more straightforward boom bap instrumentals. Here you're getting more underground styled abstract hip-hop instrumentals, and Sko was able to attune himself to each instrumental perfectly in terms of his flows, in terms of his delivery, his tone. And he's just the type of rapper who I feel like if you were to ask him, would say he's probably influenced by West Side Gun, at least the type of bars that he has, because he's the type of guy who has absurd flexes that just, stop and make you think. Rapping about thrifted Kurt Vonnegut sweater on his arm that he's wearing. I mean, there's truthfully a lot of great things you get from Sko. And again, this is like honest, authentic rap where he is always telling you where he's at. This is not necessarily that broke rapper perspective I was talking about, but this is more so Sko talking about being a rapper on the come up, bragging, being successful, rapping about how he's different and how he's the one, but not because he necessarily gets the most money or fucks the most girls, even though he does rap about stuff like that. He's more so just, he's the one because he knows he believes in himself, and I think that's a lot of awesome messaging. This guy's confidence, his charisma, through the roof. Mescaline Leaves with Mayhem Lauren. Super good track. That's more on the boom bap vibe, but I also love, it's one of my favorite tracks, Riddles in the Sand, Yellow Tape, Finder's Fee, Enterprise, and Pimp Socks. I would say my favorite tracks here. This is one, if you haven't heard, I do sincerely recommend you go check this one out. From the bottom of my heart. Shout out to Sko. The album he dropped earlier. I forget if it was early. I think it was last year. Piff. Also very good. Also very good. If you are not on the Lord Sko way, wave, especially if you consider yourself to be a New Yorker. You're missing out. You are missing out. It doesn't get more New York than this cover right here. So shout out to Sko. Great guy. Make sure you are tapping in to him because, again, this is an awesome album. Last one I wanted to talk about is the most underrated album of 2022. Drill Music in Zion by Lupe Fiasco. Now this is truly an incredible project. Lupe Fiasco is the type of guy who has a lot of incredible projects. This would be number 2 in his discography for me, truthfully. And this is also like the album I heard from him that, like, before this I had heard Food and Liquor, and I had heard probably The Cool, and I had definitely heard Tetsuo and Youth. I don't know about Droga's Wave. Droga's Light I think I had heard. But this was the one where I, like, before this, Lupe was the type of rapper where I looked at as, like, lyricist that I respected from afar. Not a bunch of his songs that I was going back to, especially outside of Food and Liquor. I mean, Food and Liquor, that's really an album. That's one of those ones, man. That is like a top 50, top... I'll just leave it at 50 for now, honestly. Maybe that's a list I gotta do. If you want to tap into my 50 greatest albums of all time, if that's something you're interested in, let me know. Drop it in the comments, because I'll do it. I'll do whatever you guys say. I'll do it. But Food and Liquor is really one of them ones, especially from the 2000s. But for the 2020s, Drill Music in Zion is also going to be one of them ones, because I was mesmerized when I heard this album for the first time. I kid you not. I still revisit most tracks on here. Autobotto, I think, is a great entry point because it's one of Lupe Fiasco's most, like, aux-friendly songs. You get a very good, like, trap-style instrumental, but then the lyrics are just on another level. But you also got tracks that are very topically focused, like Miss Mural, Drill Music in Zion, and On Phonem. And, I mean, Precious Things is also great. Kiosk, Gotti. Every song on this album is great. Excuse me. And there's a lot of different themes and topically focused tracks here. But as the title of the album suggests, some of the main themes here are about bad things in a good world, in heaven, in a utopian society. Now, just to make sure we're on the same page, drill music is not a bad thing, and I don't think Lupe Fiasco thinks that. I think it's just more about the gang violence, black on black crime, and unnecessary death that drill music doesn't create, but that drill music raps about, and that lifestyle. Because, again, Lupe Fiasco is from Chicago, so I don't think he thinks that. I don't think he at all believes drill music to be anything that perpetuates anything negative, more so an outcome of the circumstances that allowed it to convey. And again, those circumstances come from redlining, come from segregation, come from the idea that the way, again, we're talking like 50 years, 50, hundreds of, not hundreds of, but 50 years ago, I mean, still goes on today, I'm sure, but where communities become organized by race, but also level of income, and then these lower income areas, regardless of the race of, and they are not receiving the proper funding they should from school, in their school programs, and all sorts of programs from the government in general, because they're inner city areas, which leads to crime and all sorts of crime, whether that be like petty theft, drug dealing operations, gang violence, all that stuff is produced from these conditions, because people living in those conditions are not seeing really any type of reinforcement of financially or getting anything put back into their community from the government. These communities are often neglected, and the people who live there want to get out and make money the easiest way they can, which is not working a 9-to-5 at McDonald's. So as you can tell, Lupe Fiasco is going to touch up on the social and economic issues of the world like he's Jaden Smith here. That's what he's going to do. He does it, and he does it on all his albums. He is a very outspoken, conscious rapper. It's why I love him. It's why I look to him as almost a moral compass sometimes, because his beliefs are very interesting, and he does a great job of explaining them. He does a great job of expressing and detailing his beliefs. And sometimes Lupe goes over people's head because of that, because he's getting super deep in terms of like his lyricism, having quadruple entendres and using words that I've never heard of before. But also the way his commentary on society, social, economic issues, stuff like that, socio-political, economic issues. But nothing in his catalog in this album emphasizes the point of this album more than the first verse of On Phonem, which again, the outro to this album, I'd say it might be the best song, where you get this great beat playing and Lupe just raps. Rappers die too much. That's it. That's the verse. And then the beat just rides out for 30 seconds, 45 seconds before he gets into the second verse. And it is just such a... Oh, it's so powerful the way he says that and then leaves you time to think about it. It's special. It's truly special. And then because in his second verse, he goes on to break down why he did that. It's incredible. It's incredible. Not to mention that this album, according to Lupe Fiasco, was done in, I believe, 3 days. Him and Soundtrack cooked this up. So shout out to Soundtrack, one of the best producers. There is everything impressive about this album, and I love how this is a part of this series where Lupe Fiasco uses a painting he did himself as the album cover, because this really does feel like art. This is artful rap, and of course, all hip-hop, all music is art, but I mean, like, abstract, like the type of thing you listen to and take it all in. I don't know. I just love this album. I truly do. I really, really, truly do. It's top 10 of the 2020 so far. No doubt about that. But that's all I got for you guys today. Went a little bit over. I was thinking that I would do a couple albums less than last time to try and keep the runtime a little shorter. But what do you think's going to happen when I start talking about some of my favorite albums of all time? Now, anyone who made it to this point in the video, a couple things for you. First of all, I appreciate you tapping in. I appreciate you and your support that you are giving me by sticking this far. If you have not subscribed, liked, or left a comment yet, I would appreciate you do that. Especially let me know what you think an underrated album is, or comment on some of the choices I bought in. How are you feeling about some of these albums? You guys are the best. I hope you are doing well, enjoying your winter so far. And I will see you in the next one. Alright, I'll see you guys next week. Let me know what you want me to talk about. But until then, be good, take care, stay safe, be well, and most importantly, be happy. Doses.